Hey, Anthony, it is Wednesday. How are you doing today, buddy?
Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Who is it?
I'm Anthony. Welcome to No Vacancy Live. That's my friend Glenn.
You're watching the number one show in hospitality. Now, Anthony, you say you're cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, but I got to tell you, when I was a kid, I loved the Cocoa Pebbles. Fruity Pebbles, that was a bridge too far for me, but loved the Cocoa Pebbles.
So what's happening today is where basically there's a rally in Washington saying it was a fraudulent vote. There's a bunch of Republicans saying that it's a fraudulent vote. Mike Pence is going to be put in a situation where he's got to vote to confirm president-elect.
Mm-hmm.
We have a rampant pandemic going on, and our guest that was going to be on got called up by a prince to have dinner. So what is going on in my world?
All right, so Terry Anzarello cannot be here today. We'll get him scheduled back as soon as possible. But, you know, it happens to all of us, Anthony. How many times have you meant to do a show, but a Saudi prince says you got to come to dinner with me?
You know, usually it doesn't get to the prince. It's usually directly from the king. I'm asked the king to come to dinner.
God, you're a tier or two higher up there on the food chain than I am. I'm only with princes and vassals, big in the vassal community.
Yeah, so we accept his excuse.
All right, and of course, one thing I won't accept is people not going to bestbuy.com/hospitality, because Best Buy Business is here to help you with all of your purchases. Did you guys know that they do IT solutions for you? That's right. You don't have to worry about figuring out what type of technology to put in your hotel to meet guest needs and your operational needs behind the scenes to satisfy them, because the Geek Squad and their services can help you figure it all out at reasonable prices. Be sure to visit bestbuy.com/hospitality. Anthony, a couple of interesting things happened overnight. I got a message this morning. You remember on Monday when we were talking to Jeff Higley of Burba, they were the ones, of course, who create the Alice Conference and 100 other events during the year. The good folks over at the Hunter Investment Conference just pushed back their show from March to May 10th, but they say it's going to be live and in person. So good news, bad news on that one. What do you think about that?
I hope it's May 10th. The odds are it's going to be August 10th.
Yeah, that's what I'm a little worried about.
And I know you don't want me to say that because they're our friends, and I know they don't want me to say that because they're our friends, but I can't imagine how we get to May 10th getting a gathering when we're barely getting our nursing homes and our doctors vaccinated.
Yeah.
You know, on a good note, my friend who I'm working with, John Molina, and his brother, who's Dr. Molina, opened a hospital in Palm Springs, California, Palm Beach, California, a couple of days ago. 150 beds, 11 IC units. So they were able to open a closed hospital to help the problem what's happening in LA County. So, I mean, imagine how difficult it is to open a hospital right now, staff that up. So, you know, there's not enough emphasis on people like John and his family and his brother of what they did for the community. So I was really happy to hear that.
That is really good news that they're able to do what's right by the community. They help them out. And if you want to support our community, that is the Hospitality Strong community and the great charity Anthony put together, well, why not get yourself a pineapple? We're not making any money on this sort of thing. We're trying to help out our friend Kayla Bigham because she's doing the right thing. And with every purchase of this pineapple, you can go ahead and help support those who have been displaced by this horrible crisis. Go to bigandbathhouse.com to get your pineapple soap today. And Anthony, today I am coming at you not from a brand new hotel in Austin, Texas. This is called the Colton House Hotel, an 80-suite luxury property that just opened in the South Congress Avenue district, and it looks pretty cool to me. Anthony, what do you think about this?
Well, I'm making a bid right now. If they want to sell it, please contact me. I want to buy a hotel in Austin with my partners. So please, if you're looking to sell that beautiful new hotel you built, let me know, because I think that hotel, that area is going to be explosive. I think next year, that is my market that I'm concentrating on. Austin's awesome. Great for a number of reasons. But now, you know, people leaving California, you're going to Austin. You know, I think Joe Rogan, talking to his millions and millions of viewers, I mean, it seems like every person he knows is going to Austin. Elon Musk just moved to Austin. So I think I would want to own a hotel right now in Austin.
I love Austin, one of my favorite cities in America, because Anthony, they've got amazing barbecue and fantastic live music. Two of my biggest passions right after doing the show every day.
I tell you, I walked through Austin once quickly, and I've really never been to Austin. So I don't consider myself going to Austin. I was there literally. It was a night I was meeting with the chairman of Scripps, which is now Discovery, and I had 2 other gigs in other cities. So it was a 3-city day for me.
Wow.
So I got up at 4 a.m. and went to sleep at 3 a.m. And somewhere in that 3-day schedule, I wound up walking through Austin.
How cool! But how cool is that, though, to be in 3 different cities in one day? That must have felt pretty cool.
You know what? I was so terrified because I was asked out of everyone on the channels, of all the channels that they own, Food Network, to be the speaker with the chairman of Scripps. So I don't remember the whole day because I just remember standing on this spiral staircase overlooking this contingent of people that he gathered together, the local community, and he wanted me to talk about whatever I was supposed to talk about. And I just remember it was the first time I would say that I wasn't intimidated, but I understood the weight of the moment. Here I am, pretty new to the channel at the time, and I'm being selected to stand next to the chairman of everybody he could have selected. Right. He selected me. And so the weight of that moment was kind of not lost on me. And so that's why I said, when I say I walked through Austin, I probably had dinner. I probably saw the community. Right. But I don't remember it because I was just so worried.
What a heady experience that must have been for you. Here you are, a guy that worked his way up, and it was a lot of challenges to get to where you were, and there you are on stage being presented as the next big thing on Travel Channel.
It was right after Anthony Bourdain left, so there was a lot of pressure on all the people that were staying at Travel Channel, and it was a great moment, and it was a moment that. I didn't need another moment like that. It wasn't like I'm not that guy that gets caught up in like, oh, now I want to be the next guy. You have Andrew Zimmern, you had Adam Richman, you had all these much bigger names than me, and so I was just really happy to take my little space, that moment,
right,
and then go about my business.
Well, first, I got to be honest with you. I take offense at that comment, Anthony. There is no bigger name than Anthony Melchiorri from Discovery Networks over there.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I want to say this is really important. Everybody's been asking me, where's the show? Because it was on Amazon Prime. So we had Hotel Impossible on Amazon Prime. Not me, but I don't make any money from it. Discovery, as soon as they came up with Discovery Plus, right before the holidays, they're like, you know what? We're taking it back from Amazon Plus because it makes no sense. It's a different channel. So they put it on Discovery Plus. I actually signed up for Discovery Plus last night. And lo and behold, if you want to see all Hotel Impossible, all Extreme Hotels, all 5-Star Secrets, and a show called Hotel Showdown that nobody knows I was on because I was only the voice of it. All 4 shows, all seasons are on Discovery Plus. So this is not a commercial to go to Discovery Plus and buy Discovery Plus for, I think, $4.99 or $5.99 a month because I don't make any money from it. But if you want to see everything that we've done, it is all right there on Discovery Plus. And I watched one of the episodes last night. And again, I don't watch episodes very often. And I'm sitting there with my headphones on my computer, and it's a whole different feeling. It's like I really felt like I was there. And at the end of the show, it was the show in New Hampshire. I literally looked at the show and go, God, that was a good show. There's so much to unpack from these shows. And so anyway, so everybody's asking me where can you find Hotel Impossible, 5-Star Secrets, and all the other shows we've done. Discovery Plus, and you can find all your other content on Discovery Plus, Food Network, HDTV, the Magnolia channel, I believe. All the channels are there. All your favorite people are there. So again, not a commercial, but people ask me all the time, Discovery Plus, go sign up and go watch the shows. And it's right there.
All right. Excellent. I love it. I thought I had enough streaming services in my life, Anthony. You've just told me I do.
No, and that's the problem because I do have a lot of streaming services, and like it felt like the tipping point for me. It's like I'm done. Like I said, let me sign up for Discovery Plus, and then I'm done. Like I don't want any more streaming service. I have enough.
Right. And hello, streaming service people out there. Could you come up with a better name than Plus? Disney said Disney Plus. Every other service doesn't have to be called Plus. Put your creative brains on and get it. All right, Daniel is asking if there's a delay notification. Is Jerry going to be on today? No, we just mentioned that he got called away to go have dinner with the Saudi prince, but he is rescheduling. We'll be back soon. We'll bring that up to you.
And Daniel, if you're going to be one of our, most loyal guests, we expect you to be here on time.
No, yeah, exactly. Who cares about the notifications? You know we start at noon, Daniel. What are you thinking? What are you thinking? All right. Today, we actually we were able to put together last minute a great show for you. Today, we're going to be featuring Ken Patel, who was on our show earlier in the spring. Now he's left the company he was with, and he's starting a brand new company called EV Hotel Group. We're going to bring him on right now to talk about why he's so crazy to be starting a hotel company in this environment. Or maybe, Anthony, he'll convince us that he's a genius.
Well, I'm working on some things where we're going to start another company, and I will tell you, there is no better time to start a hotel company.
Yep,
there is no better time.
I agree with you.
That's people always say to me when things are going great, they're like, there are no opportunities. Stocks are too expensive. Hotels are too expensive. Restaurants are too expensive. Where do you think Carl Icahn made his money? Do you think Carl Icahn, the billionaire, made his money when things were great, or you think he made his money on when things were going on the way down?
Yeah. Speaking of Carl Icahn, I believe, and guys, forgive me if I don't get the numbers exactly right, but he bought the former Fontainebleau Hotel in the 2012, 13 or something like that, after it was just sitting there wasting away in bankruptcy and stuff like that, held on to it, and then flipped the property, and I think made a couple $100 million off that deal, and just holding on to an empty building for a couple of years. So,
well, Mike just said something, and Mike's one of our favorite fans too, and I know he was just being funny or flippant, and I don't want to be flippant about that comment. It's like, don't waste a good pandemic. Listen, a lot of people are suffering. Nurses and doctors are way overwhelmed. This, again, we've been talking about this for a long time, and we went away from talking about it for a while because it kind of started to smooth out a little bit. Now it's crazy again. Doctors, your cashier at your local supermarket, everybody is so taxed. So it's not about, to say waste a good pandemic. That's not what it is. If you're a business person and you buy businesses, you employ people. By employing people, you help people.
That's right.
We don't want government handouts. What people want is they want a job.
Right.
And right now you do need stimulus, and right now you do need a little extra money in unemployment because these businesses are shut down. I had a friend of mine, not to go off on a tangent, but I'll go off on a tangent. He owns a restaurant.
That's so unusual for you, Anthony.
He owns a restaurant company in New York City, and he's basically shut down, and he's been successful. So he's doing what he can to just keep everything afloat, right? Because everything's shut down. He has a gun permit for 40 years. 40 years. A good, upstanding citizen because he carries a lot of cash.
Mm-hmm.
The city of New York shut him down. Okay. So he went to renew his gun permit, and they said, you can't have a gun permit. And it's like, why? He said, because you're not carrying any cash. Because I'm not carrying cash because you shut me down.
Right.
But I'm still in business, and I still, and I'm going to open up again. Why would you take my gun permit away and I have to start all over again? So not only are some governments crushing hotels and restaurants, but then they're screwing them on other things. And again, I don't think anyone is against understanding we need more restrictions on maybe restaurants, that you can't have 100% restaurants. You can't have 200 person weddings. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is you cannot shut down restaurants. You cannot shut down hotels without helping them. And so these opportunities aren't taking advantage of a pandemic. It's taking opportunities to employ people.
Right. Michael says, just to clarify, time to try something new. Yes, we get the spirit of what you were saying, Michael. Do not worry. All right. Shall we bring on Ken? I know he's a little bit short on time, and I want to hear this story. You ready?
I'm a little short, period. So let's go.
Ken Patel, welcome back to No Vacancy Live. Really appreciate you being here. So, Ken, you're CEO now of EV Hotel Group. What made you decide to take this plunge? Is it something like Anthony says, you see a world of opportunity, or have you just lost your senses?
I would say world opportunity. I can't substitute somebody going to go see a prince, but, the opportunity was there. As we saw what has COVID changed our industry and formulated to what I would probably say where we need to be now. It's more on autonomous operations, technology, where we lack technology in the hospitality industry itself. And now we're going to be able to focus with EVs more on the focus point of AI, where we're going to be really analytic driven and in those spaces. But
That's great. I got to ask you before we get into it. It said you worked at the Sheraton, New York. I'm going to guess that was early in your career. Did you know Leora Lance, who was running PR over at that property back in the day? No. All right. That hotel always seemed to be under renovation too, which is
So Ken, when you're talking about technology and you're talking about coming into the 21st century, if you look at baseball 20 years ago, you knew a guy threw a 99-mile-an-hour baseball, and you knew he threw left-handed, and you knew he could pick off first base. That was basically as much as you knew about the pitcher and his win-loss and his ERA. Now you know what color socks he wears, how he moves his body, how many times he throws the ball as a curveball. You know where the hitter likes the ball. I mean, there's so much information. There's so much technology that on one end, as long as it doesn't get in the way of baseball, which I don't think it does, I love that stuff. I mean, I'm an asset manager, and I was an asset manager, and I just love numbers. So in order to make more money, in order to employ more people, so how will you be using the technology and the reporting and the analysis that you're talking about?
So a lot of guest insight. We would develop basically a lot of guest insight. We would develop what the hotel itself would require and what the guest expectations are. And one of the things we're going with is an RM software that's got virtual assistant. Basically guides you in the way where it's going to show you a pickup window on an hourly basis. So we would be able to maximize on the rate, but also another feature that we have out there is going to be where the guest is going to be able to find out if they want to search for a local pizzeria. I know there's concierge services out there, but they're not all put into one. And our philosophy is give the guest everything into one. And that's what we want to provide. It's going back to baseball, right? It's like we know the Yankees are really good, but we don't know the players out there, but we know they find the best home run hitters. They find the people, they really don't want to hit for average. They want to knock that ball out of the park. And our philosophy is the same way. We don't want to just concentrate on one guest. We want to concentrate on the whole avenue of guests.
Yeah, and I think that's a good point, because the guests today, I think in the next 6 months are going to be surprised. I personally think in the markets that are busy, you're going to see rates that are extraordinary. I think a lot of people that are used to going to certain hotels and certain locations are going to be pushed out. Kind of like, in the Hamptons, all the billionaires pushed all the millionaires to Montauk. I think you're going to see a lot of that in some of these A destinations, where you're going to see these rates skyrocketing because people are trying to make up for what's happened. And also, they're so much more sophisticated. I went to a ski resort the other day, and different hour was a different price of a ski lift. Now, when I was a kid, a ski lift ticket was, say, $50.
Right.
Well, now on Friday, the ski lift ticket is $200. On Saturday at 3:00, it could be $225, or on Sunday morning, it could be $50. So the dynamic pricing is really taken over, whether it be Broadway or mountains or
Disney's done it too, Anthony.
Right, or Disney in the parks. So I think the consumer is in for a rude awakening in certain markets.
It is, and and I have to say this, and our biggest philosophy is, how do we make human life better?
How do we make what?
Human life better. How do we make human life better? And how do we make sure that during these unprecedented times that we had, human life wasn't good? Human life was all over the place. We were overworking employees, and employees were just going home, stressed out, going to sleep. And that's where our autonomous operations comes into play, with the back office side of things. And always looking at, okay, are we having our employees do too much and having less emphasis on guest interaction? And that's where we're concentrating more, is that guest interaction phase is going to make human life better and give it a personal touch. So basically, that's kind of where we're at, and providing those things is going to be all technology driven, and also AI, with having it be more analytic, and that's going to drive your scores up.
So in 2 minutes or less, if I was going to hire your company, how would you guys start to help me? What's the first thing you would do?
We would deliver on technology. We would be able to come in there. We would be implementing our technology in there. That would drive the consumers automatically right there, and then also have more employee engagement. So that would give us the factor of not having, let's say for one instance, a lot of the management companies and hotels have a regional. There will be no need for a regional because we would have the reporting on a monthly basis. That would be a 50-page report with pictures laid out, with everything laid out of the hotel that no one physically would have to be there. And that's where we would cut down a lot of the labor costs because we have the technology to do it.
Right. Well, that makes a lot of sense to me for sure. So what are you doing? You're partnering with different technology providers. You're going ahead and creating some of this technology on your own. What is your philosophy here to make sure you create a good package for potential hoteliers to join your company as an owner?
So we have multiple partnerships. We have a backing of a hedge fund, and then we have a magnitude of investors, whether it's politicians or other people. They just love our idea to bring it to hospitality. And I would say we're working on more partnerships. We're very new. We're working on different types of deals at this point. And it's really driven to the fact that, as I keep stressing it, it's technology based. Everything is going to be technology based, as whether we calculate the MPRs or we calculate the laundry minutes per room, or it's going to be a numbers game across the board. That way, where the guests are going to be able to talk to an AI based technology as well. So there's going to be that interaction that it's going to be all in one. And it's going to provide less operating costs and maximize the GOP as well.
Right. Right. Now, I know you're short on time with us today because you got business to conduct as someone who's starting a company, but I want to know, you're in this for 20 years. So what makes you pull the trigger to want to go ahead and start that business? What was that like for you? How much of it was the pandemic pushing you in the right direction, and how much was just from that internal burning and yearning you had to set your own way?
I think it's just been building on. As you know, I have a very top line advisory board, and then also the partners that are involved. I mean, it's a lot of if this was pre-COVID, it wouldn't work. But now that, and I hate to even say it like this, because of COVID, our concept is working because of what has happened during COVID within the hospitality industry. And I really wanted to approach it. I mean, my move since 2018 to Georgia from New York City, I was looking to build my own company. And that was the goal for me to make the move. But obviously things went the other way, and, people weren't on board at that time. But, as we got people on board in the last probably 3 to 4 months, it's been going forward at a rapid speed. I mean, it's just been going at a rapid speed, even with our international people and our domestic people. So, we're going there, and we're developing different types of software to be implemented into these hotels.
So how do you get past those internal feelings of doubt that all of us human beings are, forced to have in us?
Show you numbers. We'll give you a free trial to show you that what we can do.
Yeah. Awesome. What are your goals for 2021?
Make human life better. I would say, we're at a point that we're getting so much feedback right now, and we feel like the concept is working. I mean, we had a senator reach out to us. We actually have 2 senators reach out to us that were interested in our business plan. And, I feel that we're going to have a great year. I feel the industry overall is very resilient, and we're going to have a comeback. We might have a comeback that surprises everyone. Who knows? Right. But, I think the future is bright. And I feel extremely confident of what's going to happen here in the next probably 6 to 9 months.
Yep, I think we're all feeling that way. All right, Ken, before we let you go, we all want to know how to find you, especially Alexander Udalov. He says, hey, how can I contact you? He's got some ideas for you.
Yes, you can definitely reach out. Our website's still being implemented, but if you go to ebhotelgroup.com, the website's us over there. I'm sorry. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find EB Hotel Group on LinkedIn. You can call our office. You can meet our lovely secretary. She loves picking up the phone. So, I mean, there's multiple ways you can contact us. You know, everyone's open to listening to any ideas people would even have for us. And if you want to come on board, we're open to that as well.
Great. Ken, thank you so much, man. Lots of good luck to you in this brand.
Thank you, guys.
All right, take care.
Thank you very much.
Have a good one. So, Anthony, we were talking about yield management and stuff, and one place that I'm starting to see it happen is in restaurants. Why charge the same price on a Saturday night as on a Tuesday afternoon for a meal?
Well,
right?
I don't think you're going to. I think it is changing, but I think we got to be careful too. You know, I think I'm not willing to spend $100 on a steak because it's Saturday night for the same steak. I think there's a different, you know, I think you got to be careful when it comes to restaurants. So it's going to happen. I think it's going to become commonplace in a couple of years. It's just the way it is. But I think you have to be a little careful. And even when you're going skiing or you're going golfing, you know, I understand. Like, listen, if I want to go on a Saturday and I want to go skiing and I have some disposable income, $20 ain't going to stop me from going skiing.
Right.
And it's going to keep the resort it's going to help the resort grow. So I understand it. I just think in the restaurant business more than the bar business, you have to be careful.
Yeah, well, that's very logical because you don't want to turn off all of your customers. And that's the whole thing with dynamic pricing. That could be, you know, an issue where it really starts to create a wedge between the haves and the have-nots.
Well, I think if you look at baseball, again, going to baseball, sorry to cut you off, but you don't see when we were kids, every ballpark was full. Right. You would take your family, a father and mother would take a family of 5 to the ballpark. It cost you $50 and you have a good time. I go to a net game, okay, a basketball game with my kid, just me and her in a nice section of the stadium. And it cost me $500 before between parking and tickets and food and maybe a t-shirt, it's $500. And to go to a basketball game, and I'm actually being conservative because I've actually spent more money on tickets because to get better seats. But the stadium's half empty, and I'm still paying all this money for a seat that's closer to the floor. So I think, like baseball, I think baseball's suffering. A lot of the capacity in baseball stadiums are suffering because of it's not affordable anymore.
Anthony, I could agree with you 100%. We lived that. When my kids were younger, I really wanted them to get into baseball. I was raised a Mets fan, and I loved the whole idea of going out to the ballpark, even though I don't follow sports as religiously as I did back in the 80s and early 90s. But I took my boys when they were young to the stadium. And between parking, ticket prices, snacks, and souvenirs, I spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars, and my kids didn't get anything more out of it than when I went here to see a Long Island Ducks game and tickets are $6 and hot dogs are $3, you know?
Yeah. And what happens is when you go to a game and you're spending that money, you want the value. When you went to a game as a kid, you want a game. You don't care about the value. It's like, all right, I spent $50 and I have a hot dog and a soda and we're watching the game. But when you're spending $500, it's like, what's my value? And the value is I go to the concession and people are nasty to me. And so I think you just listen, it's coming to restaurants. It's going to continue. We just got to continue to give value and service because if you're going to ask people to pay extra money, when you're doing it in restaurant, when you're doing it in hotels and you're doing it in airlines, they don't really see it because you don't know what the person paid next to you. You don't know that they paid, $500 and you paid $200. But when you see that everybody on Friday night, your friend went and spent $100 on the meal, and then you spent $300, and you're like, well, did you have the same food on the menu as I did? Yes. It's like, well, I spent $300. Oh, yeah, they changed prices on Saturday night. I think that's a little bit more of a tricky thing to handle.
Yeah, I'm just really hoping that the universe resets itself with pricing when we get post-pandemic, because when Billy Joel plays over at Madison Square Garden pre-pandemic every single month, my wife's not that big of a fan, but I'm a Long Island person, so it's required by law to be a Billy Joel fan, and I wanted to go to see the show. But honestly, any decent tickets are $250 a pop, and then you throw in the train or parking and a nice dinner. Now all of a sudden you're getting to be really expensive, like you were talking with the basketball game. And is it really worth it? Or do I really just want to take that money and take my family away to a nice hotel?
No. First of all, it's never too expensive to go to the Billy Joel concert. So stop that rubbish and that ridiculousness. Billy Joel is it's Frank Sinatra.
It's an American hero.
Listen, it's Frank Sinatra, Billy Joel, and Craig Morgan. Those are the three people in my life.
All right, well, you got us Craig Morgan on the show. Now you've got to get Billy Joel on the show.
We got Craig Morgan on the show at the best possible time on his farm, screaming at the camera, going to build something, looking like a cowboy and looking like a farmer. And I just love that guy. I listen to his music every day. But anyway, and I don't know how we got off on this tangent, but today I want everybody to understand, we don't talk politics on the show, but we need to talk about this today. It's very important. I need you to understand, or I don't need you to understand anything. In my opinion, what I need to understand today's a historic day. Today is the day that we prove that our Constitution is strong. In our country, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on, so please don't think I'm on one side of the aisle or the other by my comment, because you would be wrong. Okay? Trust me. You don't know my politics, but I have to say this. I have to say that the Constitution, the youngest country, the oldest Constitution, the Constitution is being pushed today, for better or for worse, whatever side you're on. And the Constitution will hold strong, hopefully, and we will go forward. Doesn't matter whose team won. What matters is the Constitution stays strong and that we all have an opportunity to make this country better, because this country isn't where it needs to be. This country was never as great as it should be, and it has an opportunity to be the greatest country in the world, continue to be that. But we need a Constitution to stand up. We can't just have allegations. We have to have proof. Again, no matter what side. If you look at the Republicans, there's a lot of Republicans that are pissed off right now. Okay? And there's a lot of Democrats that are celebrating, and I think they're a little bit premature in their celebrating, because I think they're going to get blamed for a lot of the work that's yet to come, and there's going to be a lot of pain going forward. So if we don't come together as a country, Republicans and Democrats, independents, everyone, we're not going to have what we want, and that's a united country. With that said, the Constitution is a strong and deliberate Constitution, and it's the best in the world.
Yep, and I just want a strong, healthy populace so they can start traveling again, and all of us in this business could sleep better at night knowing that we could pay our bills, right?
Yeah, and I know you're very uncomfortable when I bring stuff up, but I'm
not really that uncomfortable with it, but I'm not uncomfortable with you talking about politics as much as I am very careful as to want to stay down the middle, and I think that you did a great job at that.
Well, I don't think it's anybody's business what your politics are. I don't care about your politics. What I care about,
except on Twitter,
what I care about is, what are the rules of the land? If I lose, I lose. If I win, I win. That doesn't make the person that voted for somebody else better or worse than me. Okay. And again, don't read into my politics, because you'll be surprised. Okay. I believe in people. That's my belief. And I believe in our Constitution.
Right. And I also have to say that I believe in the differing opinions, because just like different cultures and races and religions in our country, that adds to the panoply of flavors that we all have in these great United States. It's our differences, which may appear that they separate us at times, but I think binds us together and makes us a much stronger, better country in the end.
But again, the reason I want to kind of bring this up today is because it has nothing to do with you. It has nothing to do with the incoming president or the president that's there now. It has to do with, what does the Constitution say? What does our Supreme Court say? And what are the laws of the land?
Right.
What do they say? We don't have to like it. You can still believe that. You can still believe that the election was stolen. You can believe that. That's okay. That's your right to believe. But our Constitution says you need to prove that. And if you prove it, then let's fix that, and so it never happens again. Right. But until you prove it, We have to go by the laws of the land. And today is an important day in that process. When you're putting a person that's been loyal to, like President Trump, Mike Pence, in a vice grip, because he doesn't want to say what he has to say today, but he's going to have to say it because our law demands it. And if it's a Democrat or a Republican, I want the law to be heard. I don't want to be, if we start being able to make our own way about our Constitution and kind of say, well, I think this happened, that's a problem.
Yeah.
And on the other side, this is not the first time it's being done. Democrats did it too. They did it when Bush became elected. So
I just saw a clip today, just to make sure people know that we're on both sides, where Maxine Waters stood up in 2001 to say no.
Right.
I love
the fact. I absolutely love the fact that the senators are standing up today and saying what they're saying. I love it because it's in the Constitution for them to say it. Mm-hmm. But that doesn't make it rules and that doesn't make it law. But they have a right to say it and let them say it. Good for them. Yeah. They will either suffer the consequences good or suffer the consequences bad on the other side of this.
I
always have to respect someone, whoever it is, that stands up for what they believe in, even if somebody else doesn't believe it. And even if they're full of shit, it doesn't matter. If you stand up for what you believe in, then you just have to live with the consequences.
Right. And shout out to former Vice President Al Gore, who actually had to preside over that session, announcing his loss, and did it with dignity and grace and said that he was following the law.
Yeah, until he said he started the internet, and then he lost all credibility.
Right. But that's a story for another show.
Listen, don't get me started on Al Gore because he wore a beige suit and he lost the election because he thought the young generation would think a beige suit was cool.
And somehow Obama won a tan suit and then went on for re-election. So the debate's out on whether beige or tan suits are going to do you in or do you good.
You know what? There's two ways to wear your clothes. Like, should I wear these clothes or this is what I'm wearing? When you put something on and go, this is what I'm wearing, people believe you. When you put something on and go, you think they'll like this? You wear it like that. And it's two different things, man.
I love that you said that. And it's a great point. And time for another perfect tangent where, that old expression, clothes make the other man or woman, as the case may be. But it's right. You put something on and you inhibit that. You feel that way, right?
My daughter's friend a couple of months ago was outside, and first time I met him, and it's her boyfriend's roommate. And I looked at him and I was like, wow, you look beautiful. Never met him before. Never told the man he looked beautiful before. But what he was wearing was beautiful. Anybody else wearing it would be like, what the hell are you wearing? All about your confidence.
Right. It really is. And Anthony, I think you look beautiful, and I'm not ashamed to say it.
I disagree with you.
Or should you? Anything else on your mind today, or should we wrap up and
support the military, support your police, support your Constitution. It is really important. I don't care which side of the aisle you're on. Our military is important. Support your military. And too many people are spouting off and carrying their flag in the name of liberty, in the name of the Constitution, in the name of a person or in the name of another person, and they've never served. They ran away. They don't support the troops that went 11 times to Afghanistan and Iraq, but they'll fly their flag, but they don't stand up when things are important. So when you see a military veteran in need, if you got to give them $1, give them $1. If you need to buy him food or buy her food. This country's been built on our military. You don't have to like all the politics of our military and what's happening, but when you fly that flag, you're basically saying you believe in America and you believe in our military. Whether you take a knee or you don't take a knee, you've got to support our military. And that is what keeps our country strong and what keeps our country great.
Well, Anthony, the good men and women that are doing their duty, they're doing their job. They're not the ones making the decision. And that's why I never understood in learning history post-Vietnam that people took it out on the soldiers that were drafted and forced to go fight over the country, regardless of whether or not they believed. They were doing their job, and they did it with grace and dignity, and all folks should be appreciated. Let me give a shout out to viewer Chad Anderson, who I know both of us have spoken to on the phone recently, who, as we speak right now, is headed back on another deployment overseas. So thank you, Chad, for doing your part.
Oh, you spoke to Chad?
Yeah.
Oh, he got to you too?
Yeah. I think I think after his conversation with you that went on much, much longer than he ever expected, he decided to chat with me for a few minutes
Well,
as
I
well.
will tell you
So
this.
sadly, it was a lot more disappointing than his chat with you.
So I will tell you this. This is very interesting. Chad is a military guy that wants to get into the hospitality business. He's been to and that's what kind of got me on the military thing just now, because I just spoke to him a couple of days ago. He's going to Afghanistan or Iraq. Yes, someone's still going to Iraq. He's a fireman. He has 6 years left, and he's doing his education to get in the hospitality business. He got in touch with Harry Rosen, okay? And
I spoke with Harris Rosen.
right, Harris Rosen, and spoke to him. That's what tells you about Mr. Rosen, right? The man he is. He got to me. I spoke to him. We spent a lot of time together. And he is trying to get ready for coming out of the military and being in hospitality, but also going to Iraq to be a fireman. And he's been on 3 different tours. I know people that have been to 11 different tours. Okay. There's people, they may be a Republican or a Democrat. You may be a Republican or a Democrat. You may be on the opposite side. You may think it's great that somebody took a knee. You may think it's not good that somebody took a knee. You may think what President Trump's doing is great. You may think he's not doing great. But you know what? The guy that's shitting in his helmet, or the girl shitting in his helmet in Iraq, that's fighting for what they're told that they have to do, those are the people you have to respect. So I don't give a damn about politics, but make sure you when you see a military person or a veteran, thank them for their service.
Speaking of thanking people and giving people good props, let's send props out to John Beadle, who says, Happy New Year, everybody. John, I happen to go to high school with him, but he's in the hospitality business. He's recently diagnosed with cancer, so he shaved his head, and he's got a very great attitude about it. And he coined this great phrase about going and getting exercise during chemotherapy. He calls it chemo size, and he's out there skating up in Canada every single day. So I want to give him props for going through this with an amazing attitude.
You know what? And props to him, and props to Colleen, who's been through her challenges. And Colleen wrote, it's a sad time. It's a sad time because of the pandemic. It's a sad time because of people are dying. It is a very sad time. But when you look at the politics of everything that's going on, don't look at it as a sad time. Look at it as the Constitution is what runs this country. Okay? People don't run it. It's the Constitution, and then we abide by the Constitution. So this is a great opportunity for us to learn. This is a great opportunity to open up the damn thing, read it, and understand what it's based on. Understand the real rules and real regulations of what these people who started this years ago under, again, those people that wrote this weren't the greatest people. George Washington owned slaves. But you got to put it in the perspective of that Constitution is still the test of time. So I could be very angry with this country for hundreds of years of what they've done to the people that were here, to African Americans, or we can all come together and say, this is what we got. This is the bag of crap that we're sitting in, and we've got to love and respect each other, and we've got to do better. And whether it be Martin Luther King, whether it be John F. Kennedy, whether it be Ronald Reagan, every person is trying to make a difference, and every person, that's what today I'm inspired by the chaos. Outside of the pandemic, I'm inspired by what's happening with the government. I'm inspired that on one channel you have this march in Washington. On the other channel, you have the guy in Georgia saying, no, it wasn't a rigged election. And last night's Senate election wasn't rigged. So I love, I'm a general manager, so I love chaos. As long as the chaos is controlled by something that's sane, and what's sane is the Constitution.
Yes, absolutely. So when you say chaos, that's what you loved running a hotel. What's the first crazy chaotic night that you were at a hotel running it that you could remember right now?
Grateful Dead concert, Philadelphia. I was training in Philadelphia at the Embassy Suites, and there was a Grateful Dead party. They don't wear shoes or socks. They lay in your lobby, and there was a person that had nothing to do with the Grateful Dead concert that was stuck in his room. He was a mentally ill person. His mother and father and sister were in the bedroom, in the living room. If you know Embassy Suites, they have bedrooms and living rooms, every room. He basically locked the door to his room. So now the fire alarm goes off for something completely different. So now listen, I'm all by myself. I'm the night manager. I'm training. I have no idea what the hell I'm doing. It's a brand new hotel. I just walked in just for like the weekend because I'm training and I'm going back to New York. So I don't know the hotel. I have Grateful Dead people smoking pot and living in my lobby. I have the fire alarm going off, and I have a guy locked in a bedroom with his parents screaming that he's going to commit suicide or shoot them. I got this general manager to this day. I can't remember his name or his face. He goes, "What's going on?" He goes, he shuts off the fire alarm. He does what he has to do. He makes the thing. He tells everybody, "Get the hell out of the lobby," throws them all out. He goes upstairs. He opens the door and he goes, "What's going on?" And he goes, and we say, "Hey, this guy's locked in. What are we going to do?" He knocks the door down with his foot. He goes, "Get the out of my hotel. Okay, you and your family pack your crap and get out." And I stood there and go, "God, I love the hotel business." I don't know that story, but that's
in Grateful Dead parlance, it sounded like you needed a miracle and you got one. So
but
that's
that
really
all
helpful.
happened within a second. I'm standing there going, "What do I do?" With the general manager, and I don't recommend. I just spit on myself. I don't recommend that you knock down the door of a mentally deranged person. I highly don't recommend that. But he kicked that damn thing in with one shot. Looked the guy in the eye, like you could tell he's been to this rodeo before. And so I learned a little bit of aggressiveness when I have some issues in my properties, but that was quite the. I didn't know what to do with the Grateful Dead people.
Right.
I didn't know what to do with the fire. Well, I kind of knew what to do with the fire alarm, but I was a little overwhelmed.
Next time you're in this situation with Grateful Dead people, just get a bunch of grilled cheese sandwiches, hold them in front of you, and throw them out the door. All right.
I'll do that. And also, our friend Ross is on here. Ross, thank you for your service, Secret Service agent. You're putting yourself in danger every single day, not only with the pandemic, but with what's going on, just being in your job. So you're a hero. And he's going into the hotel business, and we're helping him with hospitality success, get through the hotel business. And I think, actually, I'm talking to him today at 2 o'clock after my 1 o'clock. If I'm a few minutes late, Ross, don't hold it against me. I'm talking to the Vegas Hotel Association today. But Jeremy will be on the call at 2 o'clock. I'll be a few minutes late, probably.
Excellent. So why don't we wrap this thing up so we could all get prepared for our afternoons? What do you think?
Yeah, we'll see what happens today.
Anthony, Thursday, of course, you've got hospitality success going on at 3
Yes,
o'clock.
for the Facebook Live. You know what? I got to talk to Jeremy. I don't know if we're doing it this Thursday.
Well, let's find out before I continue to try to plug it.
That's how prepared I am.
Hey, new year, time to turn over a new leaf. Maybe you guys could get that figured out. All right, everybody, be sure to subscribe to our newsletter. Text the word hotel to 6686. And please get the audio version of our show at Checking In with Anthony and Glenn, wherever podcasts are, or a No Vacancy podcast feed. And listen, give us a 5-star rating on iTunes. Give us a review on any of the platforms you use. That'd be really helpful for us. It doesn't cost you anything but time, and it'll help get us exposed to other folks in the hospitality business that could learn from what we are doing here. We want to educate, empower, and entertain as many as we can, so we'd love for you to help us out with that. Anthony, any final words of wisdom?
Yes, 2021. Get off social media. You want to march. You want to protest, but stop yelling at people on social media. You want to square up on people, go talk to them. You'll figure out that they're just like you, and your differences will be a lot easier. Get off Twitter. Stop yelling at people on Facebook, and let's come together and let's make this country what it could be. And that's what it comes down to. Because when somebody is in Iraq and they're sitting next to a guy that grew up in the Bronx and you grew up on a farm, in Iowa, you're brothers. And it doesn't matter. You're fighting for one people. You're fighting for one constitution. So let's get off social media and stop screaming and yelling at each other. I'm at the point where it is, I have no respect for people that do that. I mean, I'm actually starting to just cut people out of my life that just go online and start screaming and yelling at it. Listen, you have a point of view. You're allowed your point of view. You're allowed it. So go to Washington today. There's a lot of people in Washington today in front of the White House saying they don't believe what happened to vote. Go. It's your God-given right. You have a permit. Go do it. God bless you. You do it. I don't have to agree with you, but that's what America is about. And then Pence will say, Joe Biden is president. Harris is president. Maybe we'll have maybe the senators will win in Georgia, the senator that's very close right now, or maybe he won't. That's the way shit's supposed to happen. So stop yelling at people.
Right. Yeah, stop yelling at people online and instead share No Vacancy Live, because that's the best way to create positivity in the social media
people
universe.
are going to not listen to us when I go off on my rants.
No, I'm just trying to figure out a way to continue to plug our show, because it's really important that people share it so we can get more people watching. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. We will see you tomorrow. It's a great show. We've got the head of not Even Hotels. God dang it. Hold on. Dave is going to Edition Hotels on tomorrow. Thank you, producer Dave, for reminding me of my brain fart there. And we'll see you all tomorrow. Remember, you've got one life, so blaze on and
Be kind to each other.